Hello everybody, this is Freddy with FreddyCanFly, and in today's video we are going to be doing something pretty exciting that I've been looking forward to for quite a while now. I have on my bench here the new Tron 5.5 machine. We're going to be doing just an out-of-the-box review, take a look at what comes inside, the contents, and what to expect. And then we'll be following that up with the complete build guide series. Electronic components install. We'll finish that up with a flight review and so forth and so on. But I always like to do an out-of-the-box review. Now, as these products start to ship out for the US, I do believe I have the first kit. They will be offered in several different colors. That way, if you don't like the orange scheme, I think they have a red and a purple and everything else. So keep that in mind. These kits, at least as far as I know thus far, don't come with in a combo kit. So you don't have your electronics, so you're going to need servos, battery packs, ESC, fly barless unit, main blades, tail blades. And I went ahead, these are RJX blades, but I had them set up with FreddyCanFly on them just for novelty purposes. I thought that'd be kind of cool and fun, a little whimsical. So those are the blades that I'll be running. Plus they kind of match the color scheme. I mean, black and white does go good with just about anything out there. So let's go ahead and let's take the top off the box and let's see what we've got inside. Okay, you guys, so let's go ahead and take the top off here. I'm going to go ahead and set the super duper awesome blades to the side for now. Set them right over here. Alright, I'm excited. Let's see what we got inside here. I would assume, like most helicopters, it's going to come packaged somewhat universal. A lot of them always come with just a multiple different series of boxes. Now, of course, full disclosure, I'm a pretty naughty guy, so I did already kind of look through things. I can't help it. So, usually these are taped fairly well. They don't come, you know, this will just pop right open. I've already opened it, taken mine, it was taped very appropriately. The first box that comes in here is going to be the canopy. But real quick, let's take a look at some of the other contents first. On the sides, we have our frames. Now, these frames are pretty cool. One of the things that I think drew me towards this, not that it should be a huge, I guess you could say, selling point or whatever, but the battery locking system on this I found to be very interesting. So the frames, for example, they have these 3 different holes, which I would assume there's 3 different mounting positions. I might be wrong. I haven't built the Heli yet. But I just love the slide in and the pull from the side, because it just looks cool. It's something a little bit new, at least in my opinion. There might be Helis out there that have it that I'm not aware of. But it looks like a double stack frame. A lot of Helis are doing this nowadays. Good quality carbon fiber. I don't see any really sharp edges or burrs or anything. So they look good. Again, kind of standard. All helicopter frames turn out to look pretty dang good. Let's see what else we got. Skids. So in this kit they come as white. I'm going to assume they probably do in other kits. Now here's what I do like though, is they're metal. These could easily be painted if you wanted to change the color of them. And so those are just pretty standard, pretty basic. Okay, so those look good. Now here's one thing, guys, I'll tell you that I was really excited about. And mind you, again, full disclosure, I know there's other helicopters out there that utilize somewhat of the same design, but I grew up flying helicopters and they all have the boom supports and the tail linkage rod on the outside of the boom. And then of course the Goblins came around with their really unique kind of tapered square tail design, all made out of carbon fiber. And then they ran the tail push rod inside. No more boom supports, and I've always enjoyed that look. It's less parts, you know, just overall. So this one has got the tail boom, and I love this tail boom, guys. It's metal, as you can hear, so it's not carbon fiber. It's got all the cutouts and everything on the end for, I'm going to assume, fastening on the tail casing and everything. Got the nice Tron logo imprinted. But it feels strong, it feels stiff, but the shape of it is pretty cool. It's almost like it's almost a hex shape, but then flattened on the sides and then rounded around the rest. I don't know if that helps you see it or not. Pretty dang cool. And so from what I've looked at through the manual, is the tail linkage rod will be running inside the boom. so you won't see any of that, and you don't have any boom support. So this feels like a really good, stiff, rigid platform, and I'm hoping for the best on that. I got my fingerprints all over it now. So that looks really cool. I really like that. Tail push rod looks like it's inside. One thing I will say, a lot of helicopters nowadays, not just this one, just about almost every brand, and I'd love to see a fix on this, and feel free to comment below if you agree, is the tail push rods nowadays. They have to deal with epoxy. We have to epoxy in the rod, wait for it to dry, twist on our links, and just pray to God that during flight that epoxy doesn't break. I'd love to see a linkage rod design that doesn't involve any CA or any epoxy, just to give us that extra peace of mind and rigidity during flight. But it seems to be a trend. A lot of helis require you to epoxy on your ends on the tail linkage rod. I don't know why that is, and I feel like it's a pretty easy solution. So maybe we can make that a thing, guys. We'll do the tail linkage rod rebellion. Let's take a look at our little box. Now, it does have a little side box here. Maybe in the future, if they start selling combo kits, this might be the box that would have your electronics and whatnot in there. But as of right now, how do you open this damn thing? It looks like it's just got a little insert. So I'm assuming just to free up space, or I'm sorry, not to free up, but take up the extra space inside. So let's set that off over here. And let's look at this box. So, of course, you can probably call it. This is going to be all of the components. Now, guys, I will tell you this. And again, I did look through most of all this already. The parts count on this machine is relatively low. A lot of other machines nowadays, you'll notice they have several boxes in there. One for the head, one for the tail, one for all the mainframe parts and all the other bells and whistles. They were able to get all theirs into one box, so the parts count is relatively low. Landing skids here. These actually just look like your standard skids that you'd see like on a line and everything else. They do feel pretty firm, plastic or composite or something. Ooh, cool, sweet. They give you some Velcro. It does yield the Yin Tech on there, which is the manufacturer, I do believe. Got a Velcro in there for your battery packs. Now this machine, of course, being a 5.5, you can run a 6-cell or a 12-cell setup, which is really cool. It allows your room to expand and try new things. They also offer a very wide variety of pinions for different RPMs and things. Main gear, pretty basic setup. It looks like the pinion drive gear will be on top and the belt drive gear will be on the bottom. What else we got? Ooh, the tail. Now the tail on this machine, I haven't really seen too many like it. Most machines, you know, again, like the Goblins and the Spectres and the Aligns and everything else, they usually have the tail cased. And this one actually almost has the gearing completely exposed, which we'll look more into that as we get into the build. But it's got a pretty damn cool looking tail system, if I must say. So I'm pretty excited about the tail. Sorry, I got the hiccups. Moving in here, it looks like they provide you with a battery tray. I think it might be only for the 6-cell setup. I think the 12-cell might be an upgrade, so something that we might have to purchase additionally. Other various items, let's see, anti-rotation bracket. Now this is cool. So I love how the metal brackets that they have here, this is going to be the part that allows you to shift the motor back and forth for pinion mesh. I love how it still yields that Yintech sign. Just gives it some flair, and those are all metal, so good on them. Brackets, other supporting parts. These look like they're going to be the supports for the tail, which if you weren't able to see earlier, you can see how these have that like kind of rounded, chiseled, beveled look. I don't know if I want what word to use for it. I'm not sure the proper terminology, but it does have a completely sleeved casing for the main shaft, so the main bearing blocks. I love that they got away from the old designs where you would have, you know, either 2 or 3 individual bearing blocks, and I really like some of the newer machines, especially like the Goblins and stuff, where they all conceal and they have a sleeve, and then the bearing blocks are just one unit. It's just a cool design. I've really enjoyed that a lot. Looks like some more plastic supports. I'm going to go ahead and call this guy the motor mount right here. God, they really got all this in here. Nice. Okay, here we go. So this will be the main rotor. And here in a minute, I'm going to unpackage the main rotor just so we can get a little bit of a better look. Because you got your swash, your grips, your shaft and everything there. So it's really hard to see. But I'd like to take a quick closer look at the main rotor. Just for all intents and purposes. Some more components. I mean, the bagging and the packaging is really nice. I mean, everything's sealed really good. I'm going to assume following the instructions is going to be just like anything. Just part A to part B. So forth and so on. Let's see, that looks good. This is going to be for mounting the toe. Oh, they give you clips too. That's cool. So I like that. Oh, here we go. Okay, so this looks like a tail pulley system, or I'm sorry, probably the belt tensioning system here. Yeah. So here's the little lever for the battery system, and I love that it's like an anodized. It's not quite red, but it's not quite orange, reddish orange. I love the color of it. It's like one of my favorite colors. And it looks like they only supply you in the kit with one pinion. And as we talked about and will talk about during the build process, there are multiple different pinion options you can get. And that kind of looks like all the servo support. So that's kind of it for that box, guys. That's what you have to expect. But I mean, the bag count or the parts count is just relatively low, which I like to see because that means you can probably get one of these constructed and get it up in the air with very minimal downtime, which is good for business. I mean, I like to be able to just get my heli built, get it out, get it flying. So let me throw some of this back in here, this over here. Now we'll take a look at the main rotor here real quick. Let me pop this bag open. I just really want to see kind of what it looks like. Alright, so we got our linkages. I'm going to leave those in there. Swash plate. I'm sorry, but I am so attracted to the black anodized metal. If they could throw in a little bit of red here and there, I would very much enjoy that. Or that kind of reddish orange color. Just to kind of theme out the machine more. I'm really big into that, but black has always been my thing. The chrome or aluminum heads, I mean, they look great, but I've always been a black colored kind of person. So, main shaft. It looks like it is going to be a collared main shaft. Just again, another personal opinion that I have, not that it matters. I don't mind the collar designs, but out of all the main shaft designs out there that I've seen, I have enjoyed the engraved in ones, kind of like the Align main shafts, where it's got an engraved spot on the shaft, and then you just shim it. I feel like they're more reliable, because if your collar slips, you get play causes wear and tear, and you have to check your collar constantly to make sure that it's seated. Not the biggest deal in the world, but it looks like, you know, another collared shaft helicopter, so that is what it is. And come to our main shaft here, or not main shaft, main rotor. Pop this bad boy open. Okay. Everything's packaged really nice so far. I mean, I'm very much impressed. I'm really enjoying this. And, oh god, this head is beautiful though. I'm sorry. It is what it is. That is a good looking main rotor. Oh, and it's got the, okay, so I've seen this before in a couple different machines. First one that I can think of that pops out would be like the Gowie, I think it was, where they have the little insert in the middle to support the feathering shaft. I haven't actually seen that in a little while, and I could be wrong again. It's not like I'm building every brand new heli that comes out, but quality-wise, it all feels good. It feels great. I'm not getting, I know it's not fully built. I got to take it back apart, but I'm not getting any play there. And you know, I like that it exposes the feathering shaft support thing there. It just gives it a cool look. It's kind of like having a handgun, and on the slide it's got cutouts and bores where you can actually see the barrel and stuff. It just gives it a really rugged, angry look. So I actually enjoy the heck out of that. So I'm going to enjoy doing the head build. One thing I noticed that was a little bit different with this, just again to what I'm used to, is it looks like the link arms, they actually will be, the bolts will be mounting from this side into them, whereas a lot of the other helis nowadays, they actually fasten into the grips directly. So that's kind of interesting, a little bit new. It looks like the guide arms are zip tied, so I'm not going to bother to cut that now, but those all look pretty uniform. And there you go. And I believe this only has a 1 Jesus bolt design. I do like the machines that have either, you know, 2 or 4 or 6 or 12. You can never pin that to the main rotor well enough. But there we go. So that's going to be the main rotor. Let me slide that all back in here so I'm not losing my stuff. And last but not least, let's go ahead and take a look at the final box. Da-da-da. This is cool, you guys. This is what really got me. Over the camera, this probably won't really do it justice, but I would have to say anybody out there that has maybe like the Goblin Kraken is probably the closest thing that comes to mind. A lot of canopies nowadays are so fancy, and they're glossed over and they're painted and they've got all these different crazy designs, and they're beautiful, don't get me wrong. I've always been very attracted to that matte finish, and the Tron canopy is a good looking canopy, and it's got a matte finish. It's not glossed, and I enjoy that. Again, it's kind of like how the Goblin Kraken looks, and I've never built one of those yet. I've only seen photos, but it looks like it's got a bit of a matte finish to it. It's got some really aggressive angles that I think are fantastic. I don't know if they do that for a more aerodynamic or just streamlined look, but I really love it. It's got the vent slot here, which is always really cool. And the paint scheme, I mean, it's simple, but it says a lot. I mean, it gives you a really good, just, I'm a badass helicopter kind of a vibe. And so I'm really excited about the canopy. Let's see if we can get a shot from up here. It doesn't have the magnetic clicking design that a lot of them have nowadays, which would be cool, again, but we'll see how easily this thing fits on, or is hard to take off, or whatever the case is. But that's the canopy. That's always my favorite part of the machine, and I don't see any defects, any cracks, or any chips, or anything that would, you know, make me want to call and send it back, or anything along those lines. So that's basically all we got, guys. That's going to be the Tron 5.5 out of the box review. I'm going to start the build here very shortly, so guys, keep in tune for that. It's going to be a couple video series until we can get to the test flights and everything. So as always, you guys, thank you so much for watching the Tron 5.5 out of the box review. Sorry, I kind of had a spaced out moment there. And I can't wait to get it up, and I hope you guys get to enjoy one as much as I do. So remember, my friends, if Freddy can fly, so can you. Fly safe out there, my friends. Thank you.